So I'm here with Nicole Rueth of the Ruth team, based in Colorado. She is, her and her team are on client. We power their website. And, I think why I asked you here today, Nicole, is because from us, we're at an interesting vantage point because we get to see a lot of different markets and a lot of different people, teams, companies, individual LOs. And every once in a while, one stands out like yourself. So I'm hoping that we can just talk a little bit today, and for anybody who watches this, they can leave with, something creative or an idea, or just like a renewed, vigor to go out there, maybe change something, tweak their strategy, try something new.
Yeah.
And to do that, maybe we could just walk through some of the stuff you're doing, and your success. I was trying to think of a word for it, and I think the one thing I respect about you is it seems from afar, again, I'm in a different market, but it seems that your success is earned success, meaning there's an output of work and energy and effort that's going into it. So I think that's very important for people. It's easy to see you at the top of the market and some other people around the country and say like, oh, why isn't that me? Well, it's because you got to put in the work, right? So
there's a lot of work that went into it.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe just to get started, you can just give us a quick background, and then we can kind of jump right into it. Grab water.
Yeah. So I started in the business probably 21 years ago now, and came off a corporate America job for 10 years, took off from that, spent about 3 years with my kiddos, decided that I am not a floor mom, just not what I could have found myself doing. Called up a friend, and like most of us that land in mortgage lending, we land there accidentally.
Yep.
I called up a friend and I said, hey, I just need a job. He happened to be a mortgage broker. I went in kind of running his business because that was my deal. I was in corporate America running. I was in consulting and re-engineering businesses. So ran his business and did that on the operations side for about 10 years before flipping over to sales. So spent 10 years at Fairway. I'm at Movement Mortgage today, and have really just kind of honed in on the strengths that I have as an individual, my ability to build a business from my background, and then the desire to help clients achieve the dream of home ownership. Marry that all together, a long time coming, kind of got me to where I am today.
So you're a 21-year overnight success.
I am a 21-year overnight success. I know people are like, you're crushing it. You're doing all these things. How do I get there? And I'm like, talk to me in 10 years, or 15. But I do think that it's the daily activities that continue to add up, and we continue to have more, even in a down economy and market like this. My volume is off like everybody else's. But I'm not going to sit here and beat myself up. I know that if I continue to focus on those activities that continue to gain an awareness in the market that we're serving, then 2023 will be a blip. We'll move on to a phenomenal 2024 and beyond. We have decades of opportunity in front of us based on demographics and the desire for Gen Z to be in real estate and to own wealth. And so that is something that we're looking forward to, and we continue to build the foundation to serve those people.
So it's activities investing in the future right now. I want to jump into a couple things, but a couple questions before I do.
Yeah.
Was there a point that you realized like, oh, okay, this is for real? Like, 21 years, at what point were you like, all right, I'm going to make a real hard run at this? Was there something like an event or anything that happened that?
It was, so I was in operations, and then I moved over to sales. Really, I want to say by accident again. It was one of those things where I had a partner and we were in the broker model. He had to move back to New Jersey. The phone kept ringing and I had a decision. Do I move over to another position in operations, or do I start picking up the phone and start doing sales? And then I did sales for a number of years with just the kids in tow. I'm running them around to sporting events, and I'm dropping off candy at real estate offices, and I'm doing 2 to 4 deals a month. Right. And I did that for years, and it was fantastic, and it was easy, and you just kind of went into a flow. And it was probably about, 12 years ago now, 10, 11 years ago now, where a coach said something to me. He said, you're capable, you're intelligent. I can tell that you care. He goes, you tell me when you've decided you're all in.
Mm.
And I was like, what do you mean by that? I'm all in. He goes, no. He goes, I can see what you're capable of. He goes, you tell me when you're all in. And that was really when I started to explore this thing that I thought I was all in on. And I realized that I'd been corporate America. I knew what it meant to be all in, to work 80-hour weeks and to get the job done and to rise up through the ranks and to hold a high position and have 100 people reporting to me, running over, $10 million projects. And then I went into this mode where I was okay doing just enough.
Yep.
And then you decided to be all in. And then I started treating it like a business. Then I was full-time. I got office space. I got serious, started building a team and started drilling out what our value proposition was.
So you mentioned coach. Now it's gonna be one of my questions, like coach, mentor, like how important do you think that is?
I think having a coach is money that you need to be spending on yourself. People always get freaked out about spending money, whether it's on their marketing, whether it's on hiring that first person, whether it's on paying for a coach, and they want to justify that they don't need it or they shouldn't be spending their money on that thing. The moment you start spending money on yourself is the moment you start to realize what you can achieve. And getting a coach, in my humble opinion, is a non-negotiable. It's literally the turning point for the increased business that I was building, the more intentional business that I was building. And I wouldn't not have a coach today. I had one coach for 7 years and he's still very dear and very close to me. But I've always, even without him, I've always had a coach. I've never had really a break with that. And sometimes I've even had two. There was a short moment in time I had three. That was a little much, but I absolutely, hands down, non-negotiable.
Yeah, it seems like all high performers in business and sports, doesn't matter. As you get higher, it seems like you almost use it more.
You need someone to call you out on your shit. Like, that's the bottom line. You need somebody. I don't need somebody to hold me accountable. A high performer does not need that. Yep. Don't tell me to make my calls and to do my my lists and to enter in my CRM. Tactical is dialed in. Yeah. I need someone to say, you're not pushing hard enough, or you're spending too much time in the wrong areas, or have you thought about doing this? Yeah. I need that elevated someone to call me out on my shit.
Yep, that makes total sense. Let's talk about niche a little bit. Yeah. Before we started, I told you I'm a huge fan of niche. I mean, look, even my business, I could make websites for every industry, right? We pick one lane, but I'm intrigued by. I think you have a great niche and market position. Maybe can you just explain what that is and kind of how you landed on that?
So our niche is, we are really hyper focused on the aspect of real estate and building wealth and financial stability and security using real estate. So, I mean, a lot of lenders will say that, right? They'll say that, I'm in the greatest industry and I help people build wealth. Realtors will say that as well. We're helping people build wealth. We are invested full in on the concept. And it comes from personal experience, as I think all things do. Your niche should be something that literally fills you up with passion, and it gets you excited to get out of bed and to go do the thing, because this job in particular is hard. It is a grind, and you have to work harder in down markets. Like, when you're making less, you're actually working more. And so you have to be completely dedicated and all bought in. It can't be a niche that somebody else told you, hey, you'd be great at this. You can't listen to that. What is important to you? So, having grown up, and I don't want to go knee deep into my story, but I've shared my story, and having grown up with nothing. And I love my mom. She went above and beyond in trying to create abundance, but it never came together. And as a single mom living paycheck to paycheck, what we didn't have was the stability of real estate. And it wasn't until much later, when I got married and we bought our first home and I saw these three little kiddos looking up at us, that I realized, oh my gosh, this is so much more than just a roof over my head. It's creating safety that somebody, it's like, it has my back. I can go out and I can push to bigger and bigger things.
Yep.
And so then we purchased, my husband and I then met a gentleman who then introduced us to the power of real estate, not only as stability and security and the roof over our head, but then as an opportunity to build wealth. And then we started to dive deeper into that. And now, 24 investments, 2 commercial buildings. And my biggest pride is the fact that my 3 Gen Z kids all own their own homes. And I just bought my mom a home, which is like the thing that fills my heart. So that's the kind of thing where I can see this is the path. I'm not going to create the next Facebook or the next rocket to the moon or the next EV car. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What I can do is buy a house. It's that simple. And then I can buy the next one and the next one. And I can have the kind of lifestyle that gives me stability and financial security. And I don't have to be an Einstein to do it. That's what we educate on, and that's what we support through strategy, one-on-one sessions to create that kind of path for people who want to be multimillionaires using real estate.
Yeah, I watched a video of you talking about that a little, and it was from a while ago. And at that point, 2 of your 3 kids owned a home, so it's cool that now all 3 of them have.
Right.
So it's easy. So you have a niche you're passionate about, and I think it lends a lot of credibility that you're actually in that. It's like having a financial advisor that also invests themselves, right? I still talk to a lot of people that are hesitant about a niche for fear of alienating other borrowers.
Yes.
You talk about what are your thoughts on that?
That's so real. It is so real. But, that is part and parcel of a very limited mindset. When you think in scarcity, when you think that a limited number of people will find you, or I won't be able to serve those, or at any point you think I'm limiting or cutting off the options, is when you stop growing. So when I think in abundance, like I have a 100%, I'll spend money and I'll create opportunity in the worst of cycles, because I know that as long as I keep putting it out there, it will always come back if I give it freely. I give without any strings attached. So we're constantly trying to build that up. But when you niche and you become so passionate about something that it's so evident that your energy and your positivity and your excitement is in that thing, and I can talk all day about real estate and the passion behind investing in real estate and helping clients achieve success in investing in real estate, I get so excited about that. All of a sudden, I start getting first-time home buyers and move-up buyers and multi-unit buyers and investment buyers, and like all of these people that keep coming in that just want part of the energy. They want part of the flow because they know, hey, she's got something, she's onto something, and I want to be a part of that train.
Yep.
So I think, I don't care if you're super excited about condo development and you want to be a builder's lender, or you want to work just horse country and farms and larger acreage, or you want to work with just the Gen Zers or the millennials or the baby boomers and you want to do reverse mortgages. I know people that are absolutely passionate about supporting aging adults through the kind of lifestyle that gives them abundance, and they're leaning into reverse mortgages, and that's all they do. But of course they have people that are like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Now all of a sudden the kids and the siblings and the aunts and uncles, and they all want a part of this. And a lot of those are just traditional mortgages. The riches are in the niches. Everybody's heard that. I think that that's a little played out, but I do think that the truth is there, that it's by niching, you become known for something. If I'm not known for something, I'm not known or relevant to anyone.
Yep. Yeah, if you're not talking, like, I always mess the saying up, but it's like if you're talking to everybody, you're actually talking to nobody.
Right.
Gist,
well, nobody's listening. You're not talking to me.
Yep.
I'm not hearing you. I'm just swiping. I'm continuing to move on past your messaging.
Yep. And the passion too, like if you're out there and you're thinking about this, like I found that you can ask yourself or have somebody ask yourself like a series of 4 or 5 questions that even if you don't know what your niche is, like you will find it through what you're passionate about. And as long as you can translate that into what you're doing in business, you'll be fine. And that can fold over into content creation and whatever else you're doing to get your message out there because you're passionate about it. And it will also help with consistency. You could fake it for a couple of years, maybe, if you're lucky, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So you got your niche, and then, obviously social media is becoming and has become very big. My take on it is, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this. I don't know if I made this up or I just think I didn't. I heard it somewhere. You never know. I don't think there's any.
Like, did you write it down and read it? I read it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably that. But, I call it, or whoever told me called it, the transfer of authority, meaning, like in the past, if I told somebody about you, that had a lot of authority, or if you were able to meet somebody that had a lot of authority. And I'm not saying it's gone, but now it seems that in the transfer of authority, what I mean is that it seems that what people can discover on their own about somebody, holds more weight than them being told. And the internet seems like it's become that platform where, someone can tell me about you, and I could have, one frame of reference for who you are, or I can go online and see all your videos, see your reviews, and really get it, almost like meet you virtually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my belief now that for people's buying decisions almost holds more weight than just like a referral or, hearing a name. And I know that you are very active on social media. I looked this morning, and let me just look at a couple of these things. Like on your YouTube channel, you have, as of today, almost 800 videos, 787 videos. TikTok was 191. Instagram, 1,960 posts. And those are just those 3 channels. I don't even know where else you are. Yeah. But actually, this is kind of a fun fact. You may not even know. Today is your 1-year anniversary of TikTok content.
I did not know that. I did not know. It took me a little while to get there, and I'm still not sure that we started doing it, and I was like, it just didn't feel authentic. So we moved back to Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, but still, I mean, your messaging is good. All those helpful tips. I think that transcends platforms.
Agreed.
I wouldn't totally ditch that, but I don't know if that was the actual first one, but it's definitely the first one that still shows May 26th, 2022, which I thought was pretty cool. And the other platforms, there's just too many. I couldn't even get to the end of them. But so you're on social. When did you decide to make that a priority? How would you categorize that within your business?
So that's a fantastic question. And there are people in sales, loan officers specifically, that will capitalize on Instagram specifically or TikTok specifically, and they'll go all in, and they want that to be their feeder for their leads. We tend to focus on education, and that's our lead generator. And it makes me feel good more than maybe just doing videos and posting them on social and getting a lot of social leads. But we decided 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago now, we started doing video. And if you go back, they're awful. They're still out there. And so there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
But, so we started doing it, and we were doing one a week. We were doing a video, and it was usually just me and the monkey arm. And it was, the backdrop was a bookcase that I had with a bunch of alcohol on it, because I thought that was kind of cool. I'm a big drinker of tequila. And so, yeah, me too. So it was just that, and it was me in front of that. And I was just doing, a minute or a couple minutes, or it was me in the backyard. And then at some point you graduate, and then we went from them just being sent out via BombBomb to then being housed on YouTube and sent out as like a link in BombBomb. And then we started also posting them on Facebook, and then we moved over to Instagram. And obviously most recently, a year ago, we touched into TikTok. And so we're doing this, we're using social media as a megaphone, right? Or as an echo. So we're doing the things, we're educating, we're allowing people to tell people to, hey, go check this out, go check out her videos. And a lot of times when I get a referral now, I'll have an agent that'll go, here's the contact information for my rock star lender. She's going to take care of you. Check out her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And so they'll use that as that, proposition of expertise.
Yeah. It's like a term called pre-framing, where if they can learn about you in advance, it makes the actual interaction so much more powerful. Like they already know. You have multi-state licensing. Does that, you think that helps your reach as far as well? Like,
I think I thought it would be more beneficial when I did it. I don't know that it's required. We are in 36 states. At Movement Mortgage, we have access to all 50 through our relationships. I have loan officers in my network that I could tap into in the states that I'm not in. I'm in the states that you would probably do a loan in those 36. I started doing that because our value proposition was this idea that I could help you generate long-term wealth, retirement wealth, multi-generational wealth using real estate. And it might not be the solution in the Denver market, specifically based on how much money you have or your access point, or if you get transferred. So we started kind of just following our clients where they went as they were moving into Utah or Arizona or Kansas, Missouri. We just started kind of going there to be able to support them as they grew their portfolios. That was the primary intention. And it certainly has allowed us to serve more people over a span of time, because now if a real estate agent's referring me and their client is moving out of town, they can say the Ruth team can help you there as well. And it makes them feel good as well.
I mean, that makes total sense. It's like, if I want to buy, if I'm already like comfortable with you, working with you, and I want to buy an investment property or an apartment building in a different market, it'd be great to be able to use you too for that. That's huge. Last thing on the social piece. So I already went over the stats. You have a ton of content. Don't let that be overwhelming to you out there. If you don't, there's plenty of people that are just still trying to get started with this. Do you have a process on how you create that? Do you like batch content? Do you like talk us through how do you go about creating, reporting, and doing all that?
So I might do 2 videos at a time. I don't know that I have ADHD, but I certainly have a short attention span for any activity. So it's kind of like one of those things where if I'm in a recording studio, I'm thinking about the other things that I also need to get done. So I can focus in for about 2 videos, and I only do that batching when we do our Wednesdays. So we have a schedule of content, which I think is super important. I've always been into schedules ever since the very beginning. When I had, 8 years ago, when I was doing my first video, it was 1 video a week and it was a class a month. And I did that. Everything was hyper focused on getting attendance and talking with people. And then the follow-up for the 1 video a week and the 1 class a month. And then it graduated to more and more and more to what we have today. And so now, we have our Wednesday videos, which are more content, and they blast out to our whole database. That I might do 2 of those at a time. Really, I just do them usually on Friday, so that my videographer can edit it and we'll send it out on Wednesday morning. And then we do a live on Facebook every Tuesday morning. I do a market update every Thursday morning live. And then if we do any other videos, it's more like, oh my gosh, that just happened, right? We got to quickly do a video. I do a little selfie and we're talking about it, and we throw it up on Instagram that something happened with Wells Fargo where the interest rates or the Fed or something urgent that would require a video. But the Wednesday videos, and then we have the TikTok time. So we have Tiki-taki. That's what I was like. So that's when my marketing gal was like, knocks on my office door. She goes, "It's time. I need an hour with you." And we'll knock out like 3 or 4 of those at a time.
Yeah. What about you I see the monthly, like Denver market updates, those seem to be longer videos, is that?
Those are usually 8 minutes, and
Yeah.
they're specific to the market data that last month. And that comes out every second business day of every month, like clockwork. So again, I'm a scheduler. I love it.
Yeah. All right, well, so for the first timers.
Yeah.
You know, any advice, again, it's like, I don't know what to, I don't know what to talk about a lot. I know if they can dial in their niche, I think that opens up like content ideas right away. But any thoughts?
It's like mind-blowing to me. You don't have anything to talk about until you decide what your niche is. Like, because again, you're not talking to anybody if you're trying to talk to everybody, and you don't have anything to talk about because the choices really are unlimited. There are too many choices. So what do you choose that's seemingly relevant? And none of it seems relevant. So that's why people spin out, I think. And so when we're talking, we're constantly talking, even when I'm talking to the first time home buyers or the move up buyers, or even when we're talking about like the property assessments, that was a massive topic here locally in the Denver market. We were constantly talking about the fact that you're building real wealth, but it comes at a cost because your value just went up. So the idea that I could talk about this and still talk about the opportunities that equity gain provides you and the options that you have to pay that kind of debt off, that you have increased property taxes, the things to talk about just literally come out of your pores, and because you don't have to think about it. So the moment you find a niche, say that FHA or first-time homebuyers is your niche. I mean, oh my gosh, I could think of 20 topics between down payment assistance and getting into your first home and house hacking and using ADU income versus, a basement apartment, or using, it's like, what's the difference between FHA and conventional, and why go FHA, and how do you finance out of an FHA, and how many FHAs can you have? Like all of a sudden, like my brain, I could come up with all it. Or you talk to me that you want to focus in on condos or horse property or VA buyers or whatever that is, or mountain properties or city dwellers or Generation Z. Then all of a sudden you just take that avatar. Who is that person that you're really trying to relate to, that condo dweller, that urbanite, that Gen Zer, and then all of a sudden, what are the issues that they're dealing with? How do I save enough? How do I have affordability? When are the interest rates going to drop? Is home prices going to drop? And all of a sudden, you're spinning that to the attention of that audience, and it should literally be limitless. And if you got a problem with that, you can call me, because I can think of at least 20 video topics for any subject you throw at me. Because the moment you know and identify the direction, the topics should just start coming out.
So, breaking news, you heard it here first. There is no scarcity in content, so knock it off, right?
There's none. There's really none.
That's awesome.
Especially when you're limited to like a minute or 30 seconds. Like my 8-minute ones, I sit down, those take me a couple of hours to write because I'm really dissecting the market.
Yeah.
But when we do short video hours, I'm like, oh my God, I could literally talk like for 20 minutes on this topic. And she's like, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could do like 10 of them, then is what you mean. So yes, there's plenty to talk about.
So I think the real takeaway is just find what you like to talk about, and some sort of niche, so you have a lane, and then everything's just going to sprout from there. But without that, you're kind of just grabbing into the ozone, right?
That I once had somebody say that to me early on, before we really dialed in our niche. They looked at our website years before we met you guys, years before we had figured out our niche, and somebody looked at the website and was like, I can't really tell what you do or what you're about.
Yeah.
That was a gut punch. And I couldn't answer it. Like I'm a lender, right? I drop off candy at real estate offices. Mm-hmm. So it was when I started to figure out the niche and the passion and the goal and the focus that there's nobody that could tell me today that they don't know what I'm about.
Yeah. I think that's a battle that most people in the industry struggle with. Like, even we have clients all over the place where I try to even tell them, it's like, if they're talking to two people and you're one of them and they go do their self-discovery online and they see, we'll use you as an example, and they go to your website and they can instantly understand what you're about, what you focus on, what value you bring in building wealth through real estate. They can see a stream of your YouTube videos. They can see the fact you have hundreds of happy clients with your reviews. They can see that you're doing events, online and offline. And then they go to another site that just has nothing on it and is essentially just a logo of a company they've never heard of in most cases.
Right.
Like, it's impossible to not be compelled to go at least explore working with you,
Right.
versus that. So it's tough, but it's so critical, I think. Speaking of events, you also do, and again, all the things you're doing are essentially part, like, through education, is creating awareness, right? And events are one of those things you do as well, virtual and in person. Can you talk a little bit about how you see events fitting into your business?
Events don't fit into everybody's business. Some people were meant to be on stage. Some people were meant to never be on stage, and then a lot of in between. And so events are our thing. We gravitate towards them. I have been told I'm kind of a one-to-many. It works really well for me. I love to educate myself. I feel like I can bring more value when I fully understand the market that is affecting the buyer and seller psyche and why the mortgage industry is moving in the direction that it's moving based on the political arena, based on the economics, based on inflation and Powell and all the things right now. So when I go do that research, I want to share that. That's that abundance in me. And I almost feel like if I hold anything in, then I'm not rewarded like when I share it. So I'm deeply spiritual and faithful. And I do believe that God gives gifts in order to share. And that if you don't share those gifts, then he's not going to give more gifts. And so my whole being is about sharing more than I receive on a constant basis. How can I continue to share more than I receive? Because I don't want the fountain to dry up. So I'm constantly learning, and then I want to share it. And so we do that, whether it's by video content. Originally, 8 years ago, it started out with the weekly video content and 1 month class. And the 1 month class, once a month class, was it became our anchor. It's called Agent Ignite. And we've grown that up over the last 8 years. And now Agent Ignite is not only monthly, but then it's bloomed into the next big thing, which is an annual event where we bring speakers in from around the country. And then I do events, and real estate offices have me come in, or we do a one-off on the property tax. We'll throw together an event. So now our primary marketing tool, if you will, outreach is through events.
Yeah. And then you can use your other channels to promote those events as well.
Yes. And it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. That's everybody complains about the fact that I don't know what to say when I call real estate agents or financial planners or whoever your referral partner is. You need something to talk about. Throw an event. You got something to talk about.
Do you do that with partners? Like, do you partner with other agents, or is it all the Ruth team? Like, how do you structure that? Just out of curiosity.
So we do a lot of just the Ruth team. Agent Ignite was just the Ruth team. We have a market update that I partner with a title rep, Megan Aller. And then I go and do events with a lot of real estate agents where we'll come together and we'll put together a class, whether it's a first-time homebuyer class or an investment class, and then they'll push it out to their database.
So that's more for buyers and borrowers, and then is Agent Ignite, that's all the market for, that's all agents, right?
All agents.
One thing I wanted to touch on is team. I know scaling is important. Let me just ask this last one. When did you decide to really invest in team? And I noticed, based on the team members on your site, a lot of them are outdoor enthusiasts and athletes. And I know you're an athlete. Are you a runner? Is that
I'm a runner and a biker. I'm not a runner anymore. My hips have told me no more, but I am a biker. Is
that intentional? Do you surround yourself with other active people, or is that just because you live in Denver?
No, it's because so I've had the reputation, and I probably still have it. I'm a grinder. I'm an athlete. I believe in recovery zone. I get up at 3:30 in the morning, and I can work harder than the majority of people. And it's not, I don't pat myself on the back for it. It just is. And it's just the way I'm wired. And so a lot of the people that tend to join our team and stay on our team like the push. They like the adrenaline rush. They're athletes, they're movers. They tend to just be of that nature. Otherwise, they don't end up staying on our team.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's just the culture.
It's a culture thing.
Great culture fit.
It is.
Well, I appreciate the time. Last question. Again, thank you so much for everybody who's watching. Like, again, I hope you're not gonna, the idea for people like Nicole to share, like they can share because they're already doing it. And I don't want you to think like you got to go copy what she does. That's not the message here. It's you, but you do have to figure out what it is you do, so whether it's the entire conversation we had or one little piece of information, hopefully that sparks some sort of motivation. Last question, and then we'll send you on your way. If you look out 5 years in the market, where do you see it? Not necessarily like where the prices and rates are, but just like how are you going to be conducting business? Have you thought that far in advance yet?
I have. So, the mortgage industry is probably one of the biggest dinosaur industries, the least touched by technology and the advances. The AI move is going to really disrupt how we do business. And I think it's going to disrupt retail. It's going to disrupt banking. It's going to disrupt broker model. It's going to create a speed by which mortgages, once the title industry is unified and not divided by county, but put onto a greater system where we can actually transfer title and deeds much easier than we can today. But once you get that figured out where you can actually modify and transfer titles and deeds, then the rest of the dominoes start to fall. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. And I'm not a technology wizard by any stretch of the imagination. I call my husband and my marketing manager in my office daily to fix something about the technology in my world. Yeah. So I'm not the one that's going to create any kind of solution when it comes to the AI space, but I know when I see it, and the disruption that's about to happen is going to create a requirement for lenders who want to stay relevant 5 years from now. Who is their target? What are they doing to niche themselves? How have they created an awareness and a relevancy well beyond the FHA buyer or the move up buyer who's got an 800 credit score with 30% down, or that buyer that prefers to go online for ease versus reaching out to you for knowledge? So you really do have to take the next couple of years and double down on everything that we've been talking about with the niche, creating the relevancy, creating your expertise, and making yourself where technology doesn't replace you, but enhances you. So that's, I think it's going to disrupt all of our niches within the mortgage industry, and it's who you are above that.
Kind of like how the stockbrokers turned into financial advisors. Like the need to, execute a trade went away. Just like the whole loan process is probably going to get wildly revolutionized. But that's just going to enhance the need for the advice and the guidance and the value, right? Agreed.
So the conversation around niching is extremely timely, and I think that that's where the next 5 years goes. I'm excited though. I mean, I'll tell you, you look at demographics, you look at opportunity. We'll continue to have limited inventory based on what's happened over the last couple of years. So we'll continue to have prices increase. Yes, well, at some point we'll have the rates drop. We'll have more demand. We've got massive swell. The largest age group today is 33. The second largest age group is 21. Massive home buying opportunities coming up for the next really 20 years. So in my mind, it's like nothing but opportunity, but you have to be strategic. You have to niche. You have to be aware of who you are, and you have to become an expert in your field. You can't just be a dialer and be successful like you could 2 years ago.
Yeah, that party's over.
Yeah.
All good advice. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. I know people will get value out of this. So you'll probably see yourself on the internet with this video shortly. But thank you all.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Let us know if you need anything. We're here for you, and talk to you later.
Bye-bye.